Would not have been my advice for Erika in a stage of grieving to go from being the widow to being the CEO and the chairman of the company. If I was running the company, I would have said, let's put in place an interim CEO, right? Someone below. Justin Strife, I think, was the COO. I would have put in an interim CEO and allowed people to figure things out.
Candace Owens has just blown open an entirely new chapter in the Erika Kirk story. According to Candace, if even part of what she's suggesting is true, it could be deeply damaging to Erika's public image. She is now openly saying that Erika Kirk is not who the public believes she is, and that the carefully presented version of her identity may be misleading. Candace claims that the family background Erika has shared for years could be fabricated, suggesting that Erika may not actually belong to the family she's publicly associated with, nor be the biological daughter of Lori Frantzve, as the polished narrative implies. This scrutiny has now expanded to Lori Frantzve herself, with basic details about her origins and history being questioned. Online critics argue that the available information feels inconsistent, like fragments from multiple stories stitched together, raising doubts about timelines, origins, and family connections. To many, it appears manufactured, as if documents, names, or details were deliberately arranged to construct a specific image. This has shifted the conversation from what Erika did to a much bigger question. If the family story is fake and the identity was intentionally curated, then who is Erika Kirk really?
Kirk's a honeypot, and I got the proof.
Every Saturday, so he would turn his phone off to honor the Sabbath. He would come in, open the junk drawer. Everyone has a junk drawer. Open the junk drawer, said Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Erika Kirk, born Erika Frantzve, won Miss USA pageant in November 2011 on her 23rd birthday, which qualified her to represent Arizona in the 2012 Miss USA National Competition.
One name keeps resurfacing in this controversy, a woman presented to the public as a grieving widow, a trusted influencer, someone people were meant to believe in. However, a military whistleblower challenges that image entirely. He claims with 95 to 99% certainty that Erika Kirk was a military plant, connected to covert operations that reached into the highest levels of Charlie's organization. If his account is true, then Charlie's assassination was not random chaos, but a planned event. Candace Owens has been making this claim for months, and now, according to her, someone from the inside is saying the same thing. What once sounded like a fringe conspiracy, the idea that Erika may have been a honeypot whispered about in comment sections, is suddenly being taken far more seriously.
That the girl in the ponytail matches the description of Erika Kirk. What percentage would you put that?
Those are really rare eyes. That's 95 to 99.
Everything changes when someone steps forward under oath, names names, and provides dates and locations. At that point, the question shifts from whether it's possible to who Erika was actually working for. Importantly, this information did not come from viral clips, Reddit theories, or anonymous posts. It began with a private message. A man reached out claiming first-hand knowledge directly connected to Charlie's death. According to Candace, he wasn't seeking attention but trying to warn her, insisting that what he knew would change everything about how people viewed Erika's role and explain why parts of the assassination never added up. Candace didn't accept his claims blindly. She vetted him, verified his service record, challenged his story, and only moved forward once she believed he was legitimate. Despite knowing the backlash would be severe, she gave him a platform. He explained that he had traveled to Fort Wuka for routine military paperwork related to decades-old service issues, but upon arrival, he sensed something was off. The atmosphere was tense, people avoided eye contact, and it became clear that a high-level meeting was taking place, something not unusual for the base, which regularly hosts officials, congressmen, and stakeholders.
In what becomes a 7-hour interrogation. They think he's a spy. How did you rumble this meeting? How did you know this meeting was taking place? He's being asked a bunch of questions. They're putting pressure.
What stood out to him were certain unfamiliar faces that later became impossible to forget after Charlie's assassination. At the time, he didn't understand their significance, but once Candace began naming names publicly, he realized he had seen some of those same individuals in that room. That realization shattered any sense of coincidence. According to the whistleblower, Erika Kirk herself was present, not someone who resembled her, but Erika, with 95 to 99% certainty. That single detail changed everything.
Joined by a female that you can definitely tell when how do you put it? When people are well off and they're dressing down, she was definitely dressing down, and it was very well kept. The one thing I noticed about the woman that really stuck out to me was her eyes.
Erika Kirk had no legitimate reason to be anywhere near a secured military meeting. Publicly, she was known as a housewife, influencer, and soon-to-be widow, yet she was present the day before Charlie's assassination. That fact raises an unavoidable question. Why? Why would someone like her be inside a high-level military environment at that exact moment? Initially, the idea seemed impossible until people began digging into her background. Erika didn't rise through influencer culture by accident. Her family reportedly had long-standing ties to the security world, with connections to the FBI and Homeland Security. She grew up close to power, with networks extending into political and security circles, including individuals with no digital footprints. These are not the connections of someone who stumbled into influence. They resemble the profile of someone who was placed. Once her presence at that military meeting came to light, nothing about her life felt random anymore. Not how she met Charlie, not how quickly she became part of his world, and not how she was protected afterward. The original story portrayed her as a conservative influencer who fell in love with a rising political star. But what if that wasn't the real story? Charlie Kirk led one of the most influential youth conservative movements in the country, with access to donors and high-level strategy, and Erika had a front-row seat. What makes this even more troubling is that she wasn't alone at the meeting. She was reportedly there with Brian Harple, Charlie's head of security.
Had to put it at a percentage that you saw that the girl in the ponytail matches the description of Erika Kirk. What percentage would you put that at?
Those are really rare eyes. That's 95 to 99%. I can't imagine somebody.
Brian Harple was the man responsible for keeping Charlie safe and one of the first to speak publicly after the assassination. He blamed Utah Valley Police and pointed to security failures, expressing anger over what went wrong. But this explanation raises serious questions. Charlie didn't entrust his safety to strangers. His inner circle was built on loyalty and thorough vetting. If real threats existed, there were options: delay the event, change the venue, pull Charlie off the stage, or warn him directly. None of that happened. Harple acknowledged the environment was compromised, yet the blame was directed outward. If the whistleblower is correct, and Harple attended a military meeting with Erika the day before Charlie's death, then his public outrage begins to resemble damage control rather than genuine shock. It raises chilling questions about what was discussed in that room, why Charlie's head of security was present, and what role Erika played as Charlie walked toward his final speech. The timing is critical. This meeting occurred just hours before the assassination. After the whistleblower came forward, other inconsistencies emerged. Erika told the New York Times she learned of Charlie's death minutes after the shooting, even though authorities had not yet confirmed the victim or pronounced him dead. Her certainty raised alarms. Further scrutiny of her background revealed something even stranger. Despite being public-facing for over a decade, there is almost no verifiable information about her family beyond her mother. In a digital age, her family history appears erased, not missing. Combined with the whistleblower's testimony and timeline issues, the pattern became too dark to ignore. What did Erika know? What was she told? And who protected her afterward? While others faced scrutiny, she remained insulated, her interviews tightly managed, until she quietly faded from view. The whistleblower's most disturbing realization came later, from how the military treated him, detaining and questioning him for hours in a way that didn't match the situation at the time.
Head of security there, he was one of the people walking out with the congressman. Now, how would I know that? I just have a gift for recognizing people.
After Charlie's death, that reaction suddenly made sense. The meeting wasn't routine, Erika's presence wasn't accidental, and the response afterward wasn't paranoia, it was containment. Authorities needed to know whether the whistleblower had seen too much or understood what he'd witnessed. Once they concluded he hadn't, they released him but continued to monitor him. When he eventually spoke out and contacted Candace, the consequences were immediate. Information became restricted, timelines blurred, faces disappeared from the internet, and Erika remained protected. While others stayed silent, the whistleblower spoke like someone who realized too late that he had stumbled onto something forbidden, something that may have cost Charlie his life. He wasn't supposed to be there, but he was, and he saw her.
Four captains came around the corners and they escorted me way out. They wanted to take me out of the building. I thought I was getting arrested, and I didn't know what I had done wrong.
The final question, then, is not whether Erika was grieving, but whether she was ever truthful at all. If she was a plant, if she was deliberately placed in Charlie's life, then Charlie was never truly safe. Not in his home, not within his own organization, and not among the people he trusted most. And whoever approved that meeting, issued the orders, or coordinated the operation remains out there, still in positions of power, still making decisions, and still watching to see if anyone else connects the dots.